All right. Good morning. Welcome back. Welcome back. Nice, chef. Yeah, Tesla, what a move, huh? Crazy move. Welcome back. How's everyone doing? Hope you're having a good morning. All right. Like button. Morning, guys. Wait for some people to jump in. Bonjour. Yeah, it's already hump day, huh? It's already Wednesday. Short week. Important stuff today, though. I guess you could say, right? Maybe some volatility today from Jerome. Jerome speaking at 10 a.m. today, 10 a.m. tomorrow, so possibly some action there. Yeah, yesterday, good opportunity on both sides for sure. Opportunity to the downside early morning, opportunity to the upside afternoon, so a good trader's market, I'd say. Yesterday, both sides, opportunity. Thanks, David. Welcome back, guys. How's everyone doing? 900 to go. Yeah, 900 likes to go. Yesterday for me was good. Took some nice profits on a few scalps and then held a few runners overnight. Turned my scalps into swings, which is something I've done a little bit more lately, for better or for worse. We'll see the outcome. But I like to swing. I like to swing contracts that I have, pulled profits on already. So Microsoft, Meta, I scalped those yesterday for some really nice profits, and then I just maintained the remaining contracts and looked at it as a swing. So if I'm wrong on these swing trades, right, I still was able to pull profits out on the scalps, sort of scaling out on the big moves intraday. So I'm in a comfortable position on those. But Meta, Microsoft, AMD, you guys know from my video yesterday, I am holding those right now. We'll see how those work out today. Meta was a thing of beauty. Meta worked out the best. Microsoft's a little bit of a lagger. And then AMD sort of, I think, still setting up. So we'll see. We shall see. We'll definitely go over those setups today. I'm really just looking for like a day over day, 2-day move here on Meta Microsoft. So I have next week's on AMD. I have this week's on Meta and Microsoft, but I will be moving those out. I don't like to hold same week contracts past a Wednesday. So today I'm going to take actions if I want to hold something over into next week, I'll be, moving those contracts to the next week. Let's get started. Big Tesla move yesterday. Tesla's a beast. Tesla's going to 300. I strongly believe that. At least we'll see what the market does, but 300 has always seemed to be the target here on Tesla. We talked about that weekly chart like a month ago about that bull flag breakout on the weekly. It's working out. So very interesting Tesla move. Still strength on NVIDIA. Still a lot of strength out there. But we have some key levels to be watching on the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. So if I subscribe, can I cancel YouTube subscription? Yeah, you can. It's all through YouTube. When you signed up for the YouTube subscription for the live streams, you got an email from YouTube. So that's all on YouTube's part. I can't manage that if you need to cancel your YouTube subscription. Paul, thank you, man. A little cafecito. Thank you, Paul, for the $4 donation. All right, let's get started. So today, 21st, June 21st, Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday, and the next day's Friday. And then it's the weekend, and I can't wait. Economic earnings calendar, nothing on the earnings calendar. We'll pull up the economic calendar. We will take a look at that. That is really just mainly Powell testimony. That's today at 10 o'clock. You guys can see right here. Powell, 10 o'clock. We'll see if there's any movement there. Tomorrow, jobless claims and Powell testimony again. So those are really your remaining major economic events. You have Bullard speaking on Friday, services PMI on Friday. But the main stuff here is Powell testimony today to the House, tomorrow to the Senate, and then jobless claims. I don't really expect much on jobless claims, but we'll see what happens on these testimonies. We'll see what Jerome Powell says. We'll get an idea of his tone. We'll see if there's any movement on the market. So just be careful at 10 o'clock today, okay? That's the big one. Watch 10 o'clock today, 10 a.m. Be careful. Tesla 300. We'll just take a look at Tesla, sort of share with you why I think there's not much resistance here. Of course, if the market moves lower, it won't happen, but Tesla really has a pretty clear runway to 300. NVIDIA, some pullback levels to look for today. We'll talk about AMD, Microsoft, Meta. We'll talk about that Shopify that's still holding 64. Netflix, which is still in a really nice stair-stepping upside. TSM off 103, and then this Apple 184 level. So got some setups there. Got some things I'm watching, mostly tech. If I think of anything else while I am on this live stream, I'll go ahead and, point them out. If I can, I'll look through my watch list, see if there's anything else I like. But those are the main ones I'm watching. Let's go ahead and get started. So, NASDAQ. So right now, we are losing a little bit of a level that I wanted to see hold this morning, but we'll see how that sort of transpires into open. Yesterday, the key was this demand at the 15,150 that we talked about, right? We put this on our charts. I have not moved these levels since yesterday. You guys can see previous highs, right? Previous highs. And you can see we moved aggressively down to that level yesterday and held it very nicely. So that's going to be a very key level, right? This big drop yesterday looked pretty ugly. I'm not going to lie. Intraday, it looked real ugly. Looked like we might start getting an aggressive slip, and it held up pretty damn well at that demand. 15,150, we held it, and we pushed back to the upside, and we're trying to maintain this little, it's more of a zone. It's sort of this 15,220, 15, it's not perfect. It's anywhere between like this 15,220 and 15,230 is where I want to see this try to maintain. These are some previous lows here, right? Previous lows here, previous highs from back here on Wednesday of last week. I want to see if this little 15,220, 15,230 level maintains here in the pre-market. You can see that we're attempting to hold it here. We attempted to hold it yesterday. If we go to the 5-minute, we can see yesterday we reclaimed this level and we held above it, right? We reclaimed after holding this demand, reclaimed this level, and now we're attempting to hold this general area now. If we lose this area, right, if we really do see downside under this area, I would say this could come down to like this 205. Let me go ahead and zoom out here for a second. You got some wicks down here. If you see these wicks over here, you guys, if I zoom in to yesterday, you got like this wick here, this demand here, you got this area here, you got these wicks from yesterday here. So you really could sort of have this as a whole zone here. Anywhere from, I'd say, these lows here, these wick lows, 15,210, right? You can see right there, that demand, this demand, this demand. This broke, right? This break caused aggressive downside. We got back above it. And then you can see this morning holding here. And we're sort of right in that zone right now. So this is going to be key, right? On the NASDAQ. Do we hold this little short-term level that held all here yesterday morning? You can also see if we zoom to the left, this is also some important areas down here, right? So you can see this is a pretty important level. If you hold this shelf, I think you can maintain and look for more upside. If you break down here under 210, I'd say you probably look for that retest of 15,150 again. If we break down to 15,150, I'll most likely be stopped out of some of these swing trades. So we'll see if that happens today. Edward, thank you, man. $10 donation. I appreciate that. New donation. Thank you, man. Appreciate the support on the live stream. So 15,210, 15,220, this whole area here, looking to see if these previous lows turn into demand again today. If they do, I think you can try to maintain here. And if you do maintain this zone today, I think there is a chance that you look for that push back into the 320. That 320 level, which we talked about yesterday, is the exact level that we rejected from yesterday morning, right? So we talked about this previous low, this previous rejection. We talked about how this caused the downside, right? We talked about that yesterday morning. And look at the level that rejected yesterday, right? The perfect supply rejection yesterday. Big push right into supply and a pretty nasty supply rejection. So really good example of not chasing out of the open, right? Or not taking calls at supply. That would have been a very nasty time if you were not paying attention to that level, right? In the chat yesterday, we were long here off this demand, and I was selling into this supply. So I was long here on Microsoft pretty early morning, taking profits into this supply, being aware that this is a potential rejection point, and that was definitely your rejection point yesterday. So I'm sort of thinking of this like a seesaw today. This is my middle, right? This is the middle of the seesaw, and which way does it tilt? Right? Does it tilt this way or does it tilt this way? That's sort of my thought process this morning. If you break below this 210, I think you move down into this 150 again. If you hold above this 210 area, I think you move into this 320 again. So that's really what I'm looking for today. That's sort of what I'm eyeing. I'm looking at this sort of, I like to call it sort of the equilibrium. It's sort of right in here at this 210, 220 area. It looks like you're pretty weak right now. So if you do continue this weakness, I could see us retesting this low from yesterday. I think it's very possible. Previous highs, right? Previous lows there. I think it's possible to see that retest if we continue this weakness here today. All right, so we'll see. Obviously, pre-market, we have to see how we open the market, but keep an eye on this level here around this 15 to 10. All right. QQQ, this 366 is important, and you can see right now we are breaking it. So if we do stay below that 366, I think you could possibly see more downside here. Let's look at this 15-minute chart here. 15-minute chart, a little bit of weakness this morning, right under that 366. If we stay under that, you could see that test again to that 364 area. This is where we held that demand yesterday, right at that 364. So under this 366, I would say you possibly can see 364. If you regain 366 today, if you hold above it, then I would look for that push into 369. So I think your key level today is 366 on the Qs. If I go to let me go to the 5-minute chart. You can sort of see here on the 5-minute. I would say anywhere between 366 and 366.40 is really this level that needs to be watched. You can see right here. Previous lows here, and you can see we're flushing below it right now. So if we stay below this 366 level today, right, if we see something like this, I think that could lead to further downside. Keep an eye on this 366 level on the Qs. Right now, we are breaking below it. Same thing with the NASDAQ. We're probably breaking below. Yeah, we're breaking into this 210 level as well. So these are your key levels on the futures, on the NASDAQ and the QQQ. Let's go to the ES. So the ES 30-minute, it looks to me like it's 42.20. If I go to the 15, yeah, I think it's this 42.20, more than this 42.30. I think it's right here. It's this previous high here. It's these previous highs here. It's this little previous low from yesterday. I think it's right around this 44.20 here on the ES. I think that's your very, very key level today. If you break below this 44.20, right, if you start to turn this into rejections, then I think you see that 4,400 retest. Again, this may be the retest that we have to see on this market. This may be the retest back at this triple bottom that we have to see on this market before any upside comes in. All right, you can sort of see we're just sort of bleeding out here. It's a very slow bleed out, right? Just a very slow bleed out to the downside since Monday's futures open. All right, look at this, just sort of, you had a little bit of this is just an extreme move, right? This is an extreme move that got corrected back into the channel, and then we just traded in the channel again, all right? So if you get another extreme move, you could come right back into that channel, and we could just sort of continue downward on this channel until there's some type of, maybe this sort of works itself into 4,400. But as of right now, very clear sort of just bleed out here on the market, which is not that bearish, right? It's sort of a slowdown, a little breath of fresh air after the most, one of the craziest upside moves here over the last few weeks. So is this slow bleed out, breaking the market? No, not by any means. So we just sort of have to understand that in this slow bleed out, which we're in right now, you might not get too much action. So just understand that. You might, I think this 44.20 is going to be key. So if you do sort of maintain this 44.20, that could be where this sort of starts to break. And if you break below 44.20, then I think that moves into your 4,400, right? That's really that big level down here, 4,400. So for me today, watching 44.20 and 4,400, right? If we break the 44.20, I think I'm going to look for downside. If we maintain that 44.20, then I want to be careful of looking for downside into these previous highs, right? Upside supply is very clear, right? We saw this yesterday. We pointed this out yesterday. Very clear supply up here. 44.45, 44.50. It's going to be a tough level to get above. SPY. Looks like the SPY, it's like this 436.50. We're sort of sitting near it today. You can see right here, 436.50 is this little previous low, right? 436.50, 436.50. All right here, 436.50, 437. Pretty key level there right now on the SPY. We'll see if that breaks. If that breaks, then you come down into this, 435, 435, 435, right? So that's sort of what I'm watching here on the SPY. 436.50. this low right here, which held in the pre-market already. If we break that, I think you move into this double bottom low here. This is 435. 1, 2, and you have a 3 right here. So in between 436.50 and 435, it's really not much here, right? You can see previously in this zone, all it was a straight down, straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, straight up from FOMC, and pretty much just a chop fest in this general area. So if we move from this, right, if we break this 436.50 low, I think that could cause a little bit of action to the downside into that 435. So watch out for that. All right. What else do I want to point out here on the SPY? I think that's really it. It's a strange move right now. It's a very slow move. Maybe after today, right, after Jerome Powell testifies, we get a little something. But if we zoom out, right, it's a very bizarre move, very slow downside bleed out. I think at one point you're going to see this wake back up, but I'm not ready to say, exactly when that occurs. But if you sort of sell, in my opinion, if you're going to sell off here in this slow manner, there probably will be a level that sort of perks this back up at some point. You might need to move down into that 435 here, right? That's that 435 demand right there on the SPY. And that's similar to what I'm saying for the ES on the 4400. You might need to come down back into this 4400 before a real demand steps up. So we'll see. 4420 today on the ES, 4400. Those are the levels I'm watching. On the SPY, 436.50, 435. On the QQQ, this 366 level is going to be key. See if we can get back above that 366. And then on the NASDAQ, it's like this 15,210. You can see right now we are battling with that 15,210 right now, right? You can see we're battling right there at that 15,210. That's going to be the key. You can see pretty much we have live confirmation that this is going to be sort of your, important zone right here, at least for now. A little bit of a battle right there. We'll have to see how that level reacts today. All right. Dow Jones. I think Dow's just sort of bleeding out into this demand. That's probably what you're about to get, right? You're probably just going to bleed out here until we retest this demand, right? And this is the previous high, previous low, and that's possibly where you need to bleed out into this 34,200, all right? So 34,200, right? You guys can see right here. That's what I would look for, right into that previous demand, 190, 200. This is where we held previously. That's probably where we could see this sort of just slowly move lower to. So just be careful of this demand below at 34,200. Russell's trying to maintain this level as well, right? Very similar, 1880, 1870 zone on the Russell. You can see we're trying to maintain this demand. So that's going to be the key, right? Do we maintain this demand on the Russell? 1870, 1880 on the Russell here. That's what I would watch, right? That's what I would watch. All right. Tesla. What a move. What a move. Am I surprised? No, not at all. Tesla's a beast. Tesla's in real time. That's sort of what it is. It's in real time. It's just a big buy. Everyone's buying it. So this is what Tesla does. We've seen this plenty of times before. If we go to the weekly chart, all right, I will say we shared this. This is sort of what I think is leading to this upside more than anything. This chart was just absolutely beautiful, right? This weekly chart bull flag. I think we posted this like the end of May. And since that point, it was just the last 3 weeks have been pretty much vertical. I do not see resistance until 300 on Tesla. Now, of course, there may be some market drama that causes this to come back down before 300. But I really do not see anything here until this consolidation high, this little rejection here. And this is 300. So I don't think you would expect, Tesla could sort of, pull back a little bit, have a little bit of sideways action. But I think the ultimate target here is this weekly chart high. All right. There is really nothing here until 300. So I would assume that that's where it finally reaches, right? And that's possibly where it starts to slow down at that 300. But until then, it's a pretty free runway in my eyes here on the weekly chart. That's what it looks like, at least. And really all you have to do is just manage it on the intraday if you want to try to catch these moves. So for the intraday, a pullback here to 271.50 would be fantastic. I would love to look for that. Yeah, everyone buying now. Guess where I bought? 110. If you guys are not, sorry, not 110. Oh yeah, 110. That's right. No, was it 140 or 110? I have to look at my long term. No, 140. I bought Tesla at 140. Everyone gave me shit. I bought Nvidia at 110. Everyone gave me shit. Hey, beautiful stuff. Anyways, so what I would look for here on the 5-minute chart, you guys can see right here, 271.50. And then this little area here, 266. Right there, right there. And then you broke this 277, which is what I wanted to see hold. All right, I wanted to see 277 hold this morning, but we broke below it. So what would I be looking for dip buys today? I would be looking for dip buys here, right? I would be looking for dip buys here. 271.50. That's where I'd be looking for Tesla to pull back to. I did buy shop at 30, right? I did buy shop at 30. You're absolutely correct about that. Shop at 30 is probably one of my favorite buys. You know, you remember me, the one-eyed, what is it? The delusional one-eyed shop bull? That was the nickname we made. Yeah, we were buying the shit out of shop down here. Just all down here, just accumulating every single week, buying shop in the 30s and the 35s and the 32s, just buying the shit out of it down here. Those are up 100%. Beautiful stuff. Anyways, Tesla, 5-minute chart. I think you need to wait for a pullback into 271.50 before I would go long Tesla today. Look for this. This would be a great retest. Back into that 271.50. We'll see if we get that. Not sure we will. If you get a pushback into 277, this could also be, a little bit of a rejection for that move into 271.50. But yeah, I don't think I'm chasing this move. I have 100 and yeah, bought Netflix too. What are we buying now? That's the normal question, right? The normal question now is, what do I buy now after everything's already up 100%? I have a lot of shares of Tesla. I do not need to trade options with this. I do not need to make money on Tesla options. When you have 150 shares, just about, a $13 move like yesterday is about $2,000 on shares. So, I'm not in the rush to chase Tesla. I'm not in a rush to lose my ass on chasing options on this. If this thing just wants to continue higher, I am in the driver's seat and I will take advantage of it with shares. I will only buy options at levels that I really like opportunities. And for me, the next opportunity is either here, right? Or it is a break and hold back above 277, right? So I'm either looking for this hold, right, and a push back above, or I'm looking for a retest at 271.50, a demand hold, a dip buy, right, for that move, maybe back towards that 300. So 271.50, that would be the demand I'd look for. That's the safe entry. That's the real nice dip buy entry. If you want to get aggressive today, look for 277 to turn back into support. If you want to short Tesla, if you're the one out there who likes to be, what's the word? Bird is the word. What's the word when you go against the normal? Contrarian. If you want to be contrarian here on Tesla, then I would look for 277 rejections. That's what I'd look for. If you want to be contrarian on Tesla, if you want to look for downside, 277 rejections would be what I'd watch. All right? NVIDIA. I think that's what I had next. Yeah, NVIDIA pullback levels. Cremarian. Kramarian. NVIDIA, here's some pullback levels I'm looking for today. You guys can see right here, previous highs, right? Previous lows, and this previous high right here. This is sort of the area I'm looking for, right? So if you get a pullback on NVIDIA, 433 is one of my pullback levels. That's something I'll be watching today. This is a previous high, previous high, previous high, previous triple top. I will be looking to see if this previous triple top turns into a support today. If we turn that into a support, I would be interested in potential upside, as pretty much every day that we wake up and look at NVIDIA, morning downside has created fantastic buying opportunities. Not saying it's going to happen every time, but let's just go back to look at NVIDIA since, let's look at it since June 13th. Dip buy, right? Dip in the morning, beautiful upside opportunity. Morning dip, beautiful upside opportunity, right? Morning dip, beautiful upside opportunity. Morning dip, upside opportunity. Morning dip, upside opportunity. Almost every time NVIDIA sells off in the morning, starts to find some type of a consolidation phase, it turns into a ridiculous buying opportunity. So I am going to continue to look for that. And today, if we get that morning dip into 433, I will look to see if this previous triple top turns into a demand level. And if it does, I'll look to play that with a stop under that level. If it breaks below, then NVIDIA probably continues lower, right? If you break below this 433 and turn these this triple top into rejections again, then you're probably looking at further downside. So 433 is the level I'm looking at today on NVIDIA. Let's see if that thing holds. All right. Press the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Little intra-stream reminder, if you guys could. AMD. All right, so here's some of the questionable swing trades that I did hold. Some of the runners from scalp positions that I did hold. AMD, I'm just sort of monitoring this demand. That's all it is. I'm not worried. I'm not stressed, right? This is something, and I'm not calling anyone out in, the Discord chat that I run, or I'm just, talking as someone that I have first-hand experience watching the emotions of newer traders, right? I have a group of a lot of people that I try to help on a daily basis, and I can see the emotions through the computer screen, right? I'm very good at sensing that emotion through the computer screen, and I can relate to it because I have been there, right? I know exactly how any type of new trader is feeling, right? So I got into this AMD trade yesterday with the idea that as long as it's over 116, I am staying in the position, right? That is my mindset. If it's over 116, I'm in the position. I don't care where it is, 116.05, 116.60, 116.80, 118. If it's coming down into 117.20, I don't care. I'm in the position as long as it's over 116. Now, almost every 10 minutes, I get a DM, right, yesterday, if I'm still in AMD. Are you still in AMD? 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 Right? This cannot be your mindset if you are taking a trade off a technical level, right? If you have a setup like this on the 4-hour chart, and you know there's demand below at 116, and you want to take a trade because you want to trust the level, right? If you want to take a trade like that, and you want to take a demand hold type of trade, you cannot be panicking out of the position because the stock is moving lower intraday, right? Are you out? Are you out? What's your stop loss? What are you doing, right? If it's over 116, I'm staying in the position, right? That is the mindset that I think a lot of people need to maybe try to adopt if they are trying to trade in this way, right? Depends on how you want to trade. But if you want to take a swing trade on something like this, and you want to stay in this trade until 116, and you want to trust the setup, you need to take a position size that you're okay having some drawdown in if it doesn't work instantly for you. And you need to trust your setup, right? You need to trust your analysis. So trust your analysis, understand what you're doing, right? And as long as you do that, you'll be okay, right? I know that I have a risk down to 116, right? I am comfortable if I lose, and I'm not panicked over the position, right? So that is sort of what I'm looking at. That's sort of the trade I'm looking at AMD. If AMD is above 116, I remain in this position. If it breaks below, I take my loss and I move on to my next trade. And I know and I have confidence that I can make that money back if I'm wrong, right? That's sort of how I look at these trades. So 116, let's see what happens. I clearly know there's demand here. I'm not just trading it off thin air. I know that it's held this level, multiple times in the past. So let's do it. Let's see if it does it again. If I said this back here, we would have won. If I said this same thing here, we would have won. If I said this same thing here, we would have won, right? If we were looking at this chart like this, right, you probably would have said, what the hell is this guy doing? Why is he long AMD here at 116 demand, right? That doesn't make any sense. Look at the stock. It's going straight down. And then look at AMD after that off demand, right? So that's the same concept here. Right now, it doesn't look good. But I am looking to see if this 116 demand steps up. If not, we move on, right? So that's the AMD trade. We'll see what happens there. I like the idea, but we'll see if that thing wants to work out for me. Microsoft, next one I'm in, right? 4-hour break and retest. Same concept, right? 336, 338. It doesn't look good right now. I'm looking to see if these previous highs right here turn into a demand on Microsoft. If I'm wrong, right, I stop out under this 336 zone. If I'm right, and this thing starts to hold this demand, right? If we do have a break and retest here, then I have a very nice entry for good risk reward, right? This is the same thing that Meta did yesterday, right? So Meta, you guys can see right here, pull back, retest of the previous 4-hour high, right? You can see we retested that level. So if we hold that zone, right, if we continue to hold this 275, then I want to stay in this play. The only concern I have here is this 289 supply above. This is a little bit concerning, right? This is a possible rejection point, so I need to be careful of that. But on this daily chart, I'm very intrigued, right? If you look at this daily chart, look at yesterday's daily candle off this retest, right? So you can see previous rejections here, break, retest. Look at this daily candle setting up off that 276 retest zone. I'm very intrigued for further upside here. So I'm going to look to see if this wants to break the 289. I've already scaled out of a good portion of my position, so I'm in a comfortable position here, just looking to see if this 275 holds, right? So that's what I'm watching. Watch Meta, 289 supply. Keep an eye on that. All right. Shopify, 64. It's been a nice hold, but it has been a shit sort of continuation move. This is why I've been sort of staying away from Shop. Yeah, it's holding, but it doesn't look great here. Every time it sort of goes north of 66, it just sort of gets beat down. So I'd be careful here on Shop. I did want to point it out because it is a pretty interesting hold at 64. But you can see right here, it's sort of every time it gets north of 66, it's just a really heavy level. So watch out for this 63.50, 64 hold. It's not a bad hold. It's actually quite an interesting hold. If we go to the 4-hour, you can see it's sort of trying to hold, this previous high here, right? Previous high here. It's attempting to turn that into support. It doesn't look that strong yet. I probably would wait for, this actual break of the recent highs and then look for that upside on Shopify. But you could watch this, right? Keep an eye on this 64, 63.50. Hey, this could also be a fantastic short, right? If we break this level and if we start to break under, this could be a nice short as well. If the market does move lower, you could watch that as well under that 63.50. All right. Netflix. So Netflix, interesting, this stair-stepping pattern is still very much alive on Netflix. So you guys can see right here, sort of this stair-stepping pattern that we have maintained. I actually have a alert there at 427. So you can see, right, previous lows, we break above, we turn previous highs into new lows. We break above, we turn previous highs into new lows. This is a stair step, right? Think about stairs. You're stair stepping to the upside. Now, if you turn this low or this previous high at 427 right here, if you turn this previous high at 427 into a new demand here, then this could be a great entry point for upside, right? If we sort of hold this, That could be your next entry point for upside. Where was the previous entry point for upside? It was at the previous highs, turning into new lows. It was at the previous highs, turning into new lows, right? So entry point for upside, previous highs, new lows. If you entered at the new lows, right, you won. Previous highs, right, new lows. If you entered at the new lows on longs, you won. Previous highs into potentially new lows. If you enter longs at the new lows, you potentially could win again. All right, so we'll see. That's just sort of the formation that Netflix has been doing. It's the same damn thing over and over again. You just have to trust it one time, right? You know, I know it's hard to trust real time, but this is sort of what I'm talking about with some of those swing trades I took as well. There's got to be one of those times where you're willing to take that risk. All right, if you want to make money trading, if you want to take really solid risk-reward trades, you have to have, you got to have the cojones to, or at least the risk tolerance to take these trades, right, when they are presenting something that they have done countless times, right? So you can see this stair-stepping formation. Does Netflix hold this demand? And if it does it present a nice buying opportunity for more upside? We'll have to see. That's sort of what I would watch. We'll see what happens there on Netflix. TSM. Yeah, this one's a little bit dead, I think. I think the reason for this not working on TSM is because of this 110 supply, right? I really think that's truly why this one may not work as much as the previous flags, right? Because we know this 110 supply is extremely heavy, right, at 110. So you can see here on the hourly chart, right? We're trying to see if this flag sets up here, right? We can see it's very similar to the previous one. But I think the problem is that you're pushing, you're coming off that 110 supply, which is very heavy on TSM. So that could be what causes this one not to work. I would watch this 103. I would watch this 103, right? This 103, this 102.30 area. I would keep an eye on that again today to see if that TSM does hold up that 103 level. If it does, right, if we do maintain here and we get back over 105, this could set up the same trade, right? It could set up the same trade. You can see right here, right? It did it here. Does it do it again? We could watch that. But as of right now, I'm not too sure that that's setting up yet. I would want to see at least a few days of a hold here around this 103 and then see if that starts to begin a setup there. But keep an eye on this one. Interesting one as well. TSM bull flag. See if that sets up. Apple. This is sort of interesting. Apple's been, just sort of rock solid, to be quite honest. It's just a rock. And previous highs yesterday, or Friday into yesterday, yesterday, overnight into yesterday. Where did we hold, right? Where did Apple push off of yesterday? It was 184, right? And why was it 184? Probably because it was a previous pretty much a previous triple top high. So if Apple sort of holds this 184 level, if it starts to maintain here, if we see NASDAQ strength, could this be your break and retest of previous triple top highs? Do you hold this 184 level? If you do, I could see that continuing. If you break below 184, then you might see some downside. This is also the exact same thing that happened here, the exact same thing that happened in this general area here, right? You can see that we continued to turn previous highs into new demand, right? So look at this on Apple right here. Previous highs, new demand, right? So that's sort of what led to that upside. So I'm looking to see, does Apple turn this previous triple top that was so difficult to get above? Do we turn that into a new demand on this pullback around 184? And does that lead to further upside? So that's what I'm going to monitor here on Apple. If Apple maintains 184, I will be interested in potentially longing this name. You can see right now you're seeing a little bit of action off that 184, right? So look at that little action off 184 this morning. That's going to be the key to watch on Apple here. All right. All right. I need a breath. It's a lot of talking. Look at that ES 4420 hold. NASDAQ trying to get back above that 210. right? But look at this ES 420 hold, 4420 hold. That's your key level right there, 4420. Right there. So 4420 ES, very key. NASDAQ, I'd like to see it back above like this 220, 210 area today. That would be nice. What else did I want to point out? Let's see. Oh, Amazon's a nice one. I sort of like Amazon's chart. Still looks pretty bullish, honestly. So here's Amazon. Just wanted to point this out. Amazon's sort of, it's sort of flagging here, to be honest. And it's not a bad look. And if you can get a NASDAQ push, I do not mind this Amazon breakout. I really don't. So I'm definitely watching Amazon today. If Amazon gets over this 127.50, if it can get over this supply that has been very clear, right? You can see right here this supply at 127.50. That's an interesting little setup there. So I would watch this. Amazon's been holding that 124 demand pretty nice, right? So keep an eye on that 127.50, 124 demand. Keep an eye on this flag. Very interesting, right? All right, what are we talking about in the chat? Let me put this to rest. Day traders usually trade 0 DT or 1 day swingers go out a few days or to a week or longer. Normally trade same day, same week, Monday, Wednesday. I like that motto. I trade same week pretty much every week, every day for scalps. So I'll trade Friday expiration, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If I'm taking a swing trade, I'll trade next week's, possibly 2 weeks out. You guys seem to be talking about SPY, which I recommend if you were trading SPY. If you come into the market every day, I talked about this with the group yesterday. If you are a new trader, let me just tell you how you set yourself up for disaster. If you are a new trader, 1, and you think that you should only trade SPY, 2, and you come into the day every day and trade SPY 0 DTE, you are literally putting the biggest weight against yourself. You are putting yourself in let me just go into the hardest possible and most ridiculous possible place on the stock market, right? If you are new to trading and you're trading the SPY ETF and you're trading 0 DTE every single day that you come into the market, you are literally setting yourself up for the most difficult and lowest probability success rate you could possibly put yourself into. So please do not do that. Please. You cannot, no human being can manage the emotion and the extreme intensity of trading 0 DTE 5 days in a row. That is the most mentally taxing and probably one of the most near impossible things to do, in my opinion. You need to be an absolute robot. And I don't think that is something that most of us can or should even aspire to be in our trading. All right? Taking that type of risk is something you probably shouldn't even aspire to take in the market, right? There's a lot more ways to make money than to be trading 0 DTE 5 days a week. Trust me. Yeah. So that is something we talked about in the group yesterday. Carmine does not do that. Carmine trades futures. That is much different. And I'm not saying you can't take like an SPX 0 DTE trade once in a while, because I do that myself. You know, if I want to risk a few $100, I'll throw an SPX in. But if that's like your only thing you do, that is very difficult. And I'm not saying it's not possible. So don't get upset, right? If that's what you do and you do well at it, don't get upset. But it is extremely difficult. And this is going out to just newer traders. So if you're experienced, if you've done this for a long time, I'm not speaking to you, right? I am speaking to people that have just entered the market, and maybe down the line they have seen that they should trade the SPY 0 DTEs every day. Don't do it. Don't do it. I promise. All right. Thank you guys so much. Have a fantastic day. Be safe out there. Be smart. Protect your portfolios. At the end of the day, we are portfolio managers, right? That is how I look at my portfolio. I am a portfolio manager at the end of the day. Sure, I trade, but my duty is to manage my portfolio, is to protect my portfolio, is to protect my dollars, to protect my money, right? So think of that, right? Maybe that's a little bit of a mindset change that you may need to try to maintain your account, right? Do you need to take that risk? Do you need to expose yourself in that way? Is your portfolio comfortable exposed to the way that you put you add positions into your account, right? Think about it that way. Maybe that will help. All right, guys, have a fantastic day. Thank you again. We have 700 likes. Can we get 1,000 likes? I mean, can we just press the like button? What do you think? What do you say? Can we press the like button? That would be fantastic. Little like button, maybe a little subscribe as well. That wouldn't hurt either if you're new here. Thank you guys again. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you guys mañana. Adios, mis amigos. What else? I think that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.